it's a hurricane, it's over. Before you know it, while you're shaking, we're a dynasty in the making. We're the royalty, now we're breaking down the enemy. Move over. For the soldiers, take a swing, I can take a hit. If we die, it's fine, we live for this. It's all for this. We're gonna stand on top with our hands in the sky. Gonna raise our cup to the stadium lights. For the glory, for the glory. We celebrate with the city tonight. Hear the hometown cheer, it's the ultimate high. For the glory, we do it for the glory. Yeah, we've waited for our time to come, calculated everything we've done, we've upgraded. Now you can't outrun a champion. Now you're facing what? Can you hear them? Yeah, it's all for us. You believe them? Yeah, it's serious. Hear the siren. We're victorious. I'm telling you. Can I get a hell yeah? Take a swing, I can take a hit. If we die, it's fine, we live for this. It's all for this. We're gonna stand on top with our hands in the sky. Gonna raise our cup to the stadium lights. For the glory, for the glory. We celebrate with the city tonight. Hear the hometown cheer, it's the ultimate high. For the glory, we do it for the glory. You're the chaser, I'm the eraser. I'll ruin your record, I'll back it, I'll break ya. I cut like a razor, so call the trophy engraver. I'm gonna get it, wait till I win it. God, I'm so glad to be in it. Can't wait to say that we did it. This is my life and I live it. Ready to give it my all when you fall back. Taking advantage of all that. Demons on average is so bad. Playing short and your team scratch. Time to assess all the damages. I knew that you couldn't handle this. It takes a man to stand up to the king, and unfortunately you have bandages. We're gonna stand on top with our hands in the sky. Gonna raise our cup to the stadium lights. For the glory, for the glory. We celebrate with the city tonight. Hear the hometown cheer, it's the ultimate high. For the glory, we do it for the glory. This is what we do it. This is what we live for. We on top. We number one. Hands to the sky. Never back down. Never back down. You gotta know my name. You gotta know my name.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome in. How are we all doing today? It is Monday. That means we're going to go fast, ladies and gentlemen. We are here for the GT45 Prototype Challenge, and it is round 8. And why is that so important? Everybody might be wondering right now, why are we so excited about round 8? It's not the final round, you might be asking. Well, here at GT45 Gaming, this is the start to the chase to the cup. We have a pretty tight battle between three drivers right now in the Pro Division, between Lucas, Dudley, and Ishmael Truth here as well. Now, this is me factoring in some drop rounds behind the scenes as well, but we have a pretty tight battle for a three-way podium fight here in the Pro Division. So these 3 rounds of racing are really super important, and it is going to be an interesting one here tonight. It's going to be a 50-minute endurance race at Road Atlanta. So we're going to pay a little homage to Petit Le Mans, so to speak, here at Road Atlanta, and this is going to be our week of racing here for round number 8. So all 32 plus of our drivers will tackle the twisty, curvy, short nature of Road Atlanta. And the choice of our car here this evening is, again, that Toyota TS150 from, again, that Toyota GMP. This is a 2016 edition car. It's the same car that we used in France last week at Alsace Village. And it is going to be a good car for this track. So what are we going to see tonight? We're going to see a lot of tight action, a lot of patient driving, a lot of nose-to-tail driving. We're going to see some moments where drivers are going to get things wrong and potentially get themselves out of shape here, and we're definitely going to see some track limit infractions around Road Atlanta. Those are 3 things we can definitely guarantee we are going to see here tonight from our Pro Division. The times, it's hard to say. The pit strategy, it's entirely hard to say. It is a racing medium and the racing soft tires required here tonight. Of course, rain will not factor into our race here this evening, so it will be just the 2 tires here needed for our racers tonight as well, so they can put those wet tires into the trailers here for this weekend, or for this week's, racing. This is presented by Ten Tenths Simracing. I'm your host for the evening, GT45 Gaming. This is a family-friendly broadcast, and I would like just to welcome everybody in. So we appreciate everybody that's coming already. We appreciate the likes and the shares out there, and the comments as they're not loading up yet, so we will catch those in a few moments' time. But let's talk about our track here for a moment. And again, Road Atlanta is our choice here this week for round number 8. It's a 2.52 mile racetrack, 4.06 kilometers. It has 12 left and right hand turns. It is a tarmac road surface. It's a real world circuit. Petit Le Mans, we just touched on that a few moments ago, and it has an elevation change of about 125 feet from its highest point to its lowest point. And this is a very technical little racetrack, and these are very fast cars with the LMP1 class. Now, we do see LMP1s drive here in real life as well. So it's not like the cars aren't supposed to be on the track here. This is also older hybrid technology than what we see nowadays in real life as well. So with that being said, I mean, it is anybody's game here tonight, but what we are going to see is some pretty fantastic racing here from all our drivers on the racetrack tonight, and it looks like a pretty beefy lobby here, as well as we are about 6 minutes to qualifying / lobby reset time here, and I think we have most of our drivers here on the grid right now as well. So I'm just kind of checking over everything, making sure everything is working. It looks like everything is working. Let's talk about round 7 for a minute. Round 7, of course, was, like we just touched on, in France last week at Alsace Village, and that means we have some new Driver of the Day awards to hand out here this week in round number 8. So after many discussions for Lucas 369 when it comes to Driver of the Day awards this season, he is going to be the one that is named the Driver of the Day, and the reason really is just an outright dominating performance from qualifying, from the green flag right down to the checkered flag. He was unstoppable in round number 7 at Alsace Village. He was absolutely locked in and dialed in on the French racetrack, and it's funny because we're coming to a very similar style racetrack, just on a smaller version in a sense, with a few less corners and a little less speed through those corners here. So it's going to be interesting to see how Lucas 369 handles Road Atlanta as well. It's a fan favorite track, obviously, for our American racers as well, so should be an interesting night of racing here tonight, and it's going to be a lot of risk versus reward here, I think, for some of our racers this evening. But it is Lucas 369 named GT45 Gaming's GT45 Prototype Challenge Driver of the Day for round number 7, and that is a bonus point awarded to Lucas as well, on top of the honor of a dominating performance in round number 7. So congratulations to him, and it's going to be interesting to see what he has in store for the field here today. We have a lot of our racers on track here tonight, and I think we are in for a really good race here this evening. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let's take away all the stuff that's blocking what you really want to see. You want to see who's on track and who is coming out to race tonight. So let's get rid of all this extra stuff so you guys can see who we have on track here tonight. It's going to be ERA Jakey here this evening with Lucas 369 on track. Ghost Viper is here as well with Dudley back after missing a couple of rounds. We have Badass on track. JP here as well after missing a couple of rounds. We have Misdevious back. JSET is also back. Dylan is back. ATB is out on track, and Nolander is as well. Also got ATK Death here out on track as well. And we still have potential of 3 drivers to have to show up here before racing starts. So that's just the way it works here sometimes. But it is a 12-car grid here tonight, and that is a decent amount of LMP1 cars to navigate this spicy racetrack. Now, Road Atlanta is wide enough to drive 2 wide around, like most of the racetracks that racers race on from week to week or day to day, depending on the situation. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to at race pace. So it is going to be a game of patience, and the drivers that make basically the least amount of mistakes and stay out of the eyes of the track limit officials are going to be in a pretty good position here, I think, to have a top 3 finish today. Of course, race pace and pit strategy are going to play a large part of that. Tires are going to definitely be an issue here this evening, I think, and it's going to be interesting to see, though, how fuel works out as well. We should see 40 plus laps in our race here this evening, and it's really going to come down to the pace of our drivers to determine how fast the laps are going to be here today at Road Atlanta. All right. So we are just kind of checking in on everything, and we do have a bunch of comments coming in, and as I suspected, it is not updating on my software, so hopefully we can start seeing some of the chat coming through here. That'd be great. We definitely love the comments from you guys, and we love to see the chatter back and forth amongst yourselves while you're watching the race, and we love to see who you're cheering for, and we definitely appreciate all the support here. So we are getting pretty close to getting ready to go here, ladies and gentlemen. So let's get a double lobby reset here, and we'll get these ready. Get the racers ready for qualifying. It'll be a 5-minute qualifying run here for our racers as well. So we'll see about 2 laps here, maybe 3 from the drivers that come out very early in qualifying, but they are going to have to be absolutely on it. And then we're going to get this absolutely crazy race on the road. I don't know what to expect tonight, ladies and gentlemen. These are our pros. These are our top shelf drivers here this season. These are our best of the whole driving field here this season in this lobby. And Road Atlanta is a tough cookie with 12 LMP1 cars on it, with a standing start on cold racing tires, different sets of tires throughout the field potentially as well. And we have allotted a full lap here this evening for potential red flag situations due to the nature of how small the racetrack is, and of course how fast these cars are. So it's going to be we're going to be keeping a keen eye through our field here in the early part of the race, especially on lap number 1 as they progress through each sector of the racetrack. And there's just so much potential for things to go wrong on the first lap with 12 cars closer together, and you know, like the S's we just seen Misdevious come through here, where it's really kind of just a single line through there, ideally, especially on race starts. So it's going to be interesting to see how that all shapes out here in just a few moments time. So let's get that lobby reset, because we are now right as we should be starting our qualifying here. So we are just going to do this, let that do its thing. And the reason why we do it twice is because you'll see, you guys are seeing it right happen in front of you, it doesn't actually reset the time of day on the first reset. Even though it appears that it does, it actually doesn't. It's a weird quirk in the game. Now we've reset the lobby to proper conditions, and this is how we would like to see the race start tonight. So the drivers are going to ready up and we're going to go qualifying, ladies and gentlemen. So, who is your favorite driver here tonight? Who is it that you're looking to see on the podium here tonight? We've seen lots of familiar faces here tonight this season on the podium, but we've also seen lots of new faces jump on the podium here as well this season. So is that going to be the case? Are we going to see some new faces on our podium here tonight in this Pro Division, or are we going to see some of the same and the usual suspects here on our podium tonight? And of course, I'm not paying attention to the drivers in chat here, so bear with me, ladies and gentlemen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, we're almost there. We'll give them another minute here, and then we're going to fire off qualifying. So it is qualifying, granted. If they're not 100% ready to go right away, then they have 5 minutes to get themselves sorted out and get on track and get a hot lap in. But we'll give them a minute here. We'll always give them a minute. That way they'll make sure they got the right tires on, all that stuff too as well. So always want to make sure our racers are ready before we start the race. That is the most important thing, obviously, for driver safety to start with. And Jay, you need to check in, buddy. He readied already, but he's not ready. You know, silly man he is. All right. It happens. It happens. Oh, he's in. He beat me to it. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to we are going to get underway here in just a moment's time. So we're just going to send our drivers over qualifying. Try to be as on time as possible. So the internet company has come and sorted out our internet here over the weekend as well. So we are back to usual duties here. And 13 in, 12 checked in. Let's go qualifying. Oh. There we go. And big screen. Oh yeah. Let's bring it to the big screen. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, look at that. My mic was muted for some reason. I apologize. So we are on our first hot lap here with Lucas, our first driver out. He is our current championship points leader here by about, I think, 13 points, if I'm not mistaken. Currently right now over Dudley chasing in second place. And again, Dudley is here on track this evening as well. So back to start battling here with the rest of this field. So this is, as we're on the back straight here, we're heading into turns 9, 10, 10A, and 11, 12. Essentially, it's one final circuit, all one section of the racetrack. Here it's a hard braking zone coming from full speed, and then it's a lot of throttle management as you're coming uphill, blind, undulating corner, and then you're coming back downhill, blind again, and it's all about maximizing your momentum. So it's going to be Lucas there. He's going to go through. Badass is going to sit there in pole position. Misdevious comes through. He's going to take second place, and Lucas drops down the fourth there. So he did not get the ideal lap there. We got Death coming through here. Oh, what's he going to do? He's going to jump up into. I missed it. He's going to drop down. Sorry, it was driver behind that moved up. We got Nolander coming through here, and he's got ATV tucked right in. He's going to sit in 8th, and ATV moves up into the list there. We've got Death and I believe Dylan. In behind there as well, so I'm not sure why it says Ghost Viper there, but they may have swapped positions here in the qualifying lap potentially, and it just hasn't updated our live timing yet. We'll have Jakey in behind them there as well. Ghost is a 107.0, so yeah, the game is very confused right now apparently, as I'm not sure what happened in Death here. He may have been doing a battery charge, I'm not sure, but everybody is all mixed up here right now. But it is Jakey currently sitting in pole position as he comes through. Jay moves up into second place. Dudley is currently sitting here in third position, as himself, Badass, and Lucas are, I believe, coming through here in their second crag, and we are going to see 3 laps, it looks like, from our racers here today. So they do have a couple opportunities to make a mistake to make up for that mistake, and again, that is short track racing at its finest. 5-minute qualifier even gets you 3 or 4 qualifying laps. You know you're on a very tight, narrow racetrack, and you know it's going to be a spicy day of racing here. So we'll see how many of these race cars come out of here unscathed and unscratched tonight, and my guess is probably not too many, as we're going to probably see some tires rubbing, and we're probably going to see some paint swapping from these races on this tight, narrow, fast sweeping circuit. But right now JP is currently sitting in 6th. We got newcomer Dylan in 7th here. We got Ghost Viper in 8th. We got Misdevious up in 9th place. We've got Nolander here in 10th. We've got Lucas in 11th position. We've got Death here currently in 12th place. And we've got Jakey here. He looks like he's doing a charge up on the battery, and we are going to see some of the drivers do this here, especially for this final lap. So we're just trying to kind of catch the drivers that are getting really close to the line here, and it looks like it's going to be 4th place driver Badass here right now as he comes around 10B into turn number 11, and our final corner 12 here is this little sweeping corner. You got to be careful here too. You don't want to catch too much of the curve there. Could unset your car, and it's going to be good enough for Badass to take back 4th place. Lucas jumps up into 2nd position there as he came around that last time as well. Dudley also improving there, moving up into 4th place, knocking Badass down to 5th place here. So we got Jakey now coming through. We got J-Set just starting the lap there. Dudley is just up into the kink here. Ooh, Badass eating a little bit there, and he is going to try and get that car stopped and out of the way, so he keeps it out of the way of the rest of the racers here. And that is going to be the end of the qualifying run there for a Badass, but great recognition right there. Kept it out of the racetrack. That is the important thing. Does not impede anybody else coming around. Very, very quick reaction time there. We got Dylan coming into pit lane. He's happy. Ghost Viper does not find an improvement there. And let's see what Miss Devious has here. She's currently sitting in 10th position right now. She comes around the racetrack and is right in behind. Looks like J-Set there up in 3rd place currently here as well. So that will be the final laps from both of these drivers as they come through here as well. And we're keeping an eye on it. Jakey improves with a 104.676 on his original pole position time. So blazing lap coming there from ER is Jakey, and we got J-Set. He's up in 3rd place there, up ahead of Miss Devious, but we're going to keep it on Miss Devious here, so we haven't seen her put in a nice flying lap here yet because we keep missing her as she comes across. So we are going to sit with Miss Devious there, and it is an improvement there. 107.1 is still only good enough for 10th place, so the lobby's looking very quick here today. It's Nolander in 11th, and Death coming through there in 12th position. Not ideal qualifying run there for ATK Death, looks like, but you know what? Qualifying and racing are two different things, so it's going to be ER Jakey in pole position, half a second over Lucas with 105.242 there. It looks like we've got TT's J-Set there in 3rd place. Is Dudley in 4th position. We got Badass in 5th place with ATV up into 6th. We've got JP in 7th, Dylan in 8th. We got Ghost Viper here in 9th place. Misdevious, in 10th position. Nolander in 10th or 11th place, pardon me, and ATK's Death here rounding out our field. I'm stumbling all over my words today. Alright, I'm here all the way from Georgia, says Cobra. Welcome in. Alright, so my chat is somewhat updating here on one side of things anyways, so that's fantastic. So, alright, so let's take a quick peek here. And again, it is going to be Jakey and Lucas in row number 1. In row number 2 is going to be Ten Tenths J-Set and Dudley. In row number 3 is going to be Ten Tenths Badass and RA's ATV. In row number 4 will be RA's JP and Dylan. In row number 5 will be Ghost Viper 26 and Ten Tenths Miss Devious. And in row number 6 will be Nolander and ATK Death, for a grand total of 12 high-flying LMP1 Toyota TS 150s, ladies and gentlemen. So, with that being said, we'll give the racers a 2-minute warning, and we'll kick this thing off. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Drivers are going to make any last-minute tire pressure adjustments. Now, the only thing they can really do is we're allowing them always to take qualifying tires off and put in racing, a new set of racing either medium or soft tires on for the race. The qualifying tires will now get put away, and that'll be that. So the qualifying tires are typically a set of scrubbed-in tires, are designed to only be used for 3 to 4 laps, and that is it for those tires, usually near the end of their optimal range, and then those tires will get recycled and turned into new rubber somewhere else for another purpose. So they will put on a new set of racing rubber to start this race. Now, what that is up to each driver. It can be the medium or the soft tire. There's no penalty for that. The penalty comes if they don't use both tires for a minimum of 3 circuit laps, so that means an in lap, a flying lap, and an out lap, essentially. So if they start the race on the medium tires and they want to get off them early, they can pit at the end of lap 3 to get that soft tire on, and that will clear that mandate, and then they just have to run a soft tire for another minimum of 3 laps, and they are good to go now. And then what they choose to do from there is entirely up to each team and driver strategies. So it's going to be interesting to see how strategy plays out here tonight, and it's going to be very interesting to see how tire saving and fuel factors into this as well. So we are just about underway here. The 2 minutes is winding down very, very quickly, and we are gonna get racing. All right. All the cars have cleared tech inspection. Now. That was a great lap there by ERA's Jakey. We did see Lucas in earlier practice sessions today come very, very close to that lap as well. So it should be very interesting. Look at that beautiful lineup of cars on the start-finish line. I hope you're excited, ladies and gentlemen. I know I'm excited. I can't wait to get this underway here today, because Road Atlanta is a beautiful racetrack, and it is going to provide us with a fantastic race here today. So kick them tires, light them fires. Let's go race it, chat. And we are just waiting for them to throw the green, and we are green. Everybody getting off the grid. Nice and tidy here. So let's keep our eyes very close on things here as we get through into some difficult sectors of the racetrack. And oh boy, that is going to be a massacre here coming into turn 1. All right. Several drivers there coming off the racetrack, so potentially some fluid on the racetrack into turn 1 there, and we are going to reset this grid here and get it going again here. So 4 cars off into the wall there at turn number 1, including our pole sitter there, and uncharacteristic here. So we're going to send our track control out to go ahead and take a look at our racetrack here. And in the meantime, let's head back over here. Let's throw up a little love right about there. And while we just hang out and chat for a minute, we will get this all reset. All right. And you know, that happens sometimes, ladies and gentlemen. That was that's Road Atlanta for us, right? That is Road Atlanta for us. So we're just checking to make sure everything is good here. Everything looks good. And it should be, hopefully, a little bit of a tidier start here the second time around. So we'll let our drivers check in. We'll get that grid reset, and we'll fire this thing off for a second time here. Now, this is something that happens. It's just a part of racing. We have the procedures in place for this reason. We want just the racers to go out, have fun, and in the spirit of some competition, you know, not have the race be completely spread out right off the bat there. So that was a rip right there. That was a rip right there. Tickets for reckless driving, says the chat. We gotta hand out tickets for reckless driving. That's funny. All right, so we got 2 more waiting to pop in here, and we'll get that grid set up. So marked safe. Well, at least the racers are having a good time about it. Everybody's giggling about it here a little bit, and we're not surprised to see that happen here at Road Atlanta. So we are going to get that grid reset here, ladies and gentlemen, and just give us uno momento time here, as this always takes a minute. It's gonna be Jay Dudley Badass ATV. We love it. We love it. Alright, so those cars are going to go into pit lane. They're going to get some new nose clips onto the front end of those racing cars, and we'll send them out and try it all over here again. We got JP and Dylan. Goes to Miss D. And Nolander and Death. You're in my brain right now, chat. You can hear what I'm hearing. Scary, isn't it? Alright, ERA, Jakey, Lucas, J, Dudley. Alright, we're good. Alright, alright, alright. So now, with that being said, we only allow so many red flags per race as well, ladies and gentlemen. So that is one. Let's hope our second restart here goes a little bit better than the first attempt at the race here. And again, we did send our track officials out to go and assess the situation in turn number 1 there. And hopefully we've got whatever the issue was there sorted out, and our drivers can get a nice, good, tidy start here in our second attempt. So here we go again, ladies and gentlemen, just waiting for the green flag to drop here. And our racers once again will get underway here. And here we go. Oh, looks like a false start in the back there by ATK's Death, so he'll get a little bit of a lazy start, so to speak, there, but not necessarily a bad thing. Lucas gets a good launch off the line there. He's going to come out ahead, and we got one car off there. I'm not sure who that was. That may have been Dudley. And we are seeing a little contact here. Oh, where'd that contact? I'm trying to assess the situation here. Alright, we do have a couple 1-2 drivers there. Dylan and Miss Devious have a little bit of damage there, and I believe it was Dudley that was off track there, and he's in the lineup and sorted out, so we're going to let this run here. It wasn't a multiple car incident, those were self-induced incident in turn 1 there, and of course 2 drivers got into each other there, creating a little bit of damage models on light, and we'll let the stewarding officials sort that out post-race if necessary, but for the time being here it is ERA's Jakey and Lucas369 here in the very early racing lead here. Jay set in 3rd place with ATV in 4th, Dylan there in 5th place, we got Badass in 6th, we got JP here in 7th, we've got Ghost in 8th place, we've got Nolander in 9th, we've got Dudley here in 10th place here, we've got Miss Devious just in behind here in 11th, we got ATK's Death here in 12th, so we got through the first lap here, not unscathed, but in much better shape than our first race start there, and again, a couple of drivers having a little bit of contact there in the early part of the race, and again, we'll let that to our race officials post-race. So Jakey with the early race lead here, trying to pull a gap on Lucas, so right now almost a second here between the 2 drivers. We got Jay in 3rd place, almost 2 seconds in behind those lead 2 here right now, with ATB very close in behind here in 4th place, and we got Dylan and Badass in 6th and 5th to 6th place, and ooh, a little bit of a run there from Dylan on ATB, and oh, he goes to pull out to use the slingshot there, and just makes a little bit of a touch there on ATB, and he doesn't quite get the clean go around there that he was hoping for, so that's going to give him side-by-side position here, but it's going to give him the outside position into the first part of the chicane here, and ATB is just actually going to settle in behind, just in front of Badass there. He's going to give the position up to Dylan, going through 10A and 10B and 11 there, and smart racing right there by ATB. Badass going to move up into 5th place there, and ATB is going to drop back into 6th position, so Badass grabbing a spot there right after that transition. We got Dudley and Ghost Viper here now side by side as we head into turn number 1 there, and that is for 8th place place, and Dudley's going to get the position there. It looks like Jay set off into turn number 1 there, and that's going to drop him down through the field here, potentially right to the back of the pack there, as the whole field is still very close together. We're still side by side here. This is now Dudley and JP battling it out here, and Ghost Viper settles in behind them, so JP now moves up ahead of Ghost here in that exchange as well. Miss Devious is now closed in on this battle, so lots of little mini battles happening here very early on in the race now. And as we're coming into the corner there, you can see everybody's trying to stay as close together as they can, but also not get too close to each other here, so they can still take advantage of a better exit than the other one, or use that slipstream to our advantage. Is very important to get a good clean exit out of the corner where the drivers have just come out of there, and this is why, as Ghost Viper's now going to go on the attack here on JP. Miss Devious is going to use Ghost here to try and pull in closer, and that is exactly what happens there. She is now right on the back wing of these two drivers here, and again you can see the drivers taking slightly different lines through the corners here, and of course dirty air playing a factor into all of that. We got ATB down in 12th place here, so I'm not sure what happened to ATB here. We don't see any damage on the race car here, so he must have had an incident about half a lap ago there that set him back to the track. So already we're seeing some early mistakes from our drivers on those cold racing tires here. It's very warm on the racetrack right now, but we are moving into evening conditions, so we will see this race finish under the night sky of Atlanta here tonight, and that is fantastic stuff. So it's Lucas here in second place, and he's closed the gap up here. It's about 7/10 of a second now to Jake, so he's just trying to manage the pace right now, and of course they're trying to break free from the remainder of the pack. But Dylan is on the charge here, and he is 3.2 seconds away, so he's moved around and gotten himself into that final podium position very early on in the race. We're only 4.5 minutes in, still have 45 minutes and a little bit of change left to go here, so lots to happen. We're going to see a minimum 1 pit stop here today. I suspect we're probably going to see 2, but that is just speculation on my part. We have Badass here in 4th place. He's got a little less than a second over Dudley here, who's recovering quite well now after the turn 1, going wide into turn 1 at race start there. So 4th place back up into 5th place here essentially, so he's almost regained back to where he was. We got Ghost here in 6th position. He's 2.7 seconds in behind those two, with Miss Devious chasing. And where is she? She's 1.3 seconds in behind, and she's got J-Set and JP here in 8th and 9th place now on her back wing here, as well as they head down through the S's here. And surprisingly enough, for such a fun racetrack and a very well used racetrack, we don't really have corner names for Road Atlanta. So the S's and the bridge, and that's about it. So I apologize for the lack of excitement about the cool corner names here at Road Atlanta, but that is sometimes some of the tracks just haven't named their stuff yet. And a lot of the times corners are given to racers or somebody important within that track and that racing community, or there's usually something historical or doesn't want to be forgotten, and that's usually what gets a lot of these racetrack corner names essentially. And sometimes of course it's sponsors that get to name the corners as well. It all depends on the situation in each racetrack, but sometimes corner names aren't necessarily given, they're earned in a sense. It's kind of like a nickname. Sometimes they're earned and sometimes they're just given. And in racetrack senses, corner names are typically given due for a reason. They're not usually just loosely named for the fact that there's not a corner or a name on that corner. So give it time at Road Atlanta, and I'm sure that they'll come up with some pretty cool names for some of these corners here around this racetrack without question of a doubt. So we have seen a position change here for the race lead. Lucas is now in the lead of the race, and he's got about half a second over ERA's Jakey. And if I had to guess, it's either just a little mistake made by the drivers and they just switched those spots, or there was a penalty there that I just hadn't missed because I was off rambling about corner names. We got Dylan here in 3rd position, and he has Dudley absolutely tracking. I mean, Dylan is on a mission here right now. He is in predator mode here after that mistake, and he seems to be locked in very well here right now, trying to make up as much time as he can before this first pit stop sequence happens here. And there we go, he's going to take a look up the inside of Dylan for that 3rd place position here heading into turn number 1. And Dylan just just trying to give space there, and just went a little too wide into the corner there. He's going to lose 2 positions there in that exchange. He's going to have some dirty tires here. He's going to have to manage that coming through the kink here, but keeps the car out of damage, keeps it moving in the right direction, and only loses himself a little bit of time and position on the racetrack for the time being. And again, it's going to be the battle of the mistakes here on the racetrack tonight for all 12 of our racers. 10B is the last corner, right? 10B is the 3rd last corner. There's 12 corners here, Tron. We got Ghost Viper here in 6th position with Miss Devious very, very close on his tail here in 7th place, and she's got JP just a little bit in behind, and Jay was in amongst all of them there and is now in behind JP, so JP has gained 8th place from Jay set here as well. And boy, what a battle in the mid-pack here we're having right now. I think we need to stick in the mid-pack right now, but every time I go somewhere, there's a good juicy battle happening on the racetrack, and we did expect to see that here in the early parts of this race. Miss Devious is going to go in really late on the brakes there, get a great move on Ghost there. Ghost giving lots of respect and room there too, and again, not overly fighting the position. He knew she was there and lived to fight another day in a sense with 8 minutes off the clock, still 42 minutes remaining. Now is not the time to necessarily fight hard for that position, so she gets the pass done. She moves up into 6th place, and now we're going to try and open a gap up as quickly as she can. Jay's now going to try and move into an attacking position, but he's also got JP in behind there, so he does also need to play a semi-defensive role from time to time here as, of course, a track around the racetrack and move around a 10th here, a 10th there, but JP very quickly closing in on Jay set here, and goes closing back in on Miss Devious up ahead here. We're going to stick with these 4 here for a few more corners as things are getting heaty in the mid-pack here in our pro division around number 8, and it's not surprising. We're not strangers to seeing these guys and gals absolutely race hard out here for 50-60 minutes every single week. And there we go, Miss Devious is aware that Ghost is there. She is going to pick her line. Ghost is going to respond. We're going to jump up ahead of Jay and JP here. Ghost is going to get the same position on Miss Devious did on him last lap, and they'll exchange that positions back, and Jay set and JP will also swap their positions around through the same corner. And this is not necessarily battling, this is just racing at Road Atlanta here. They're using that big long straightaway to get the position on the next driver, and then that's and Jay gets a run up the hill there coming in through turn number 1. We see him make a little bit of a move there and taking a slightly different line heading into turn number 1 there, and that got him a big gain on Miss Devious and Ghost here in behind. You can see now Jay is tucked right in behind Miss Devious here for 7th position here, and JP is still right there in tow as well. So again, a great little 4-car battle happening right here for 6th place, as not too much has changed up front here. We're monitoring that. It looks like Lucas is starting to open up a little bit of a gap potentially there on the field, and we're going to take a quick peek here, but a half-second track limit penalty there for Miss Devious, and that is not going to be ideal there for her. As you can see, J-Set's going to grab that position, and I think JP is going to get that track here as well coming into turns 9 and 10. A, that is, and then 10B here. Ooh, and a little bit of a brake slide there. She was coming in under braking, maybe dirty air coming across the car there as JP went through and made the pass. So Miss Devious moves down into 9th place after serving that penalty. It's now Ghost Viper up into 6th place, J-Set into 7th place, and JP up ahead of Miss D there. You can see just a little push up through the straight there from Miss D, just again letting him know that she's not going to make a move into turn 1. She's just going to stay in behind him through that corner there. JP gets a huge run. Jay makes a mistake there. He's going to give the position up to JP and Miss Devious, and again, the small little mistakes are making that much of a difference here, and a little bit of contact there, I believe, under braking between Miss Devious and JP, and that's going to slow her momentum down a little bit. Now going to allow J-Set to close in, and he's going to move on the outside there, and almost made a little touch there. You can see an evasive maneuver there from J-Set as he almost got into the rear quarter panel of Miss Devious there in front, and taking a wide entry to the corner to avoid contact. Going to cost him a little bit of time there, and now sees himself a second in behind. So let's go back up front here, see what's happening as that mid-pack has stolen the show here very early on. Lap number 10, it is Lucas369 here in 1st place. We have Dudley here in 2nd position, and he's got ERA Jakey closing in in behind there in 3rd position. So Dudley has tracked back up into 2nd position here. He did start the race from 4th, went wide into turn number 1, went to the back of the pack, and he's now gone back up into 2nd position here. Jakey here in 3rd place, just trying to maintain that gap there. We got Badass still in 4th place, just in behind here as well, with Dylan chasing in 5th place, and he's starting to track back in on that podium pack there as well. So almost our top 5 only separated by 7.5 seconds. So again, the little mistakes that we're seeing happen on the racetrack from our mid-pack drivers right now, as happens to our front runners, they are all close enough to strike essentially. So there is lots happening here on this racetrack still. And JP getting up the inside here on Miss Devious now as we head into 7 and 8, and Miss Devious is going to get a good run coming out of the corner there, but she got a little wiggle coming out on the power there, and that may have just, again, and JP getting a little bit of a slow exit there, and that might have just been reaction position to that slow exit, and she had to check up a little bit as well. But Ghost is starting to get clear here, up in 6th place, and it's 2.2 seconds. So the more that these three continue to battle there, and Jay looked like he was going to make that 3 wide there, but I think he was just trying to decide what line he wanted to take heading into 10A and 10B here. And oh, a little bit of a slide there. I think there may have been just a small touch there between himself and JSet there. As you can see, JSet immediately checking up there a little bit and allowing JP to get sorted back out there. So it tells me that there just was a small touch there, and immediately Jay just making sure that JP got sorted out before he re-engages that battle. So this is some hard racing here at Road Atlanta, and these drivers are under some pretty severe circumstances here. We got this 3-way pack in 10th, 11th, and 12th place here as well between Death, Nolander, and ATB, and they're not that far off the rest of the pack here right now, 9 seconds currently. But again, pit strategies and different tire compounds on the racetrack at the start of this race are going to create some early gaps in this race. And then we've seen time and time again, week in and week out here this season, those gaps close up in and around that final pit stop range, usually about a few minutes after, when everybody kind of gets back into that final stint rhythm. But right now it's Lucas. He's in control here at the moment. He's got 5.2 seconds here over ERA's Jakey, who's now in 2nd position here. So again, one of the drivers making a mistake here, falling down through the field a little bit. We've got Badass now up into 3rd position here. We've got Dylan in 4th place there, and he's got Dudley in behind here in 5th position. So you can see just one mistake and you're going to lose positions here right now on this racetrack. So nobody is out of this race yet by any stretch of the imagination. We've got Ghost Viper 5 seconds in behind. Cool, calm, collected guy that he comes in. He's really always coming in right from work, straight into the rig and straight in behind of these racing cars. So we always give him huge props when he's on track, because he doesn't have any time really to warm up or get properly prepared for the race like the rest of his competitors do, and he always gives a good fight. So GG's here, and currently sitting in 6th place for Ghost Viper, we have Miss Devious, who's been fighting hard here so far in this mid-pack, and eating a lot of curb there, and she's going to get finished off there by JP as he comes around the corner there, and that is going to definitely cost her some time. She's just trying to keep it out of the wall there, and ATB is closing in here, and there we go. Miss Devious gets that thing turned back around, gets it on track. Great job by her there to keep it full out of trouble there, and just ate a little bit of that inside curb there that got the car sideways, and just a slow spin to a halt there from Miss Devious, and JP just getting into the rear end there to finish that spin around, and you're going to continue on up the track. So Miss Devious is going to have a little bit of work to do here, but we are going to start seeing pit stop sequences rolling through here fairly soon. So Jakey making an early pit stop here, and our first driver, it looks like, to hit pit lane. So Badass is now in 2nd place with Dylan in 3rd position. Dudley closing back in here in 4th place. Ghost Viper now moves up into 5th position. We have JP and Jay set up into 6th and 7th there with that little exchange there, as Miss Devious made that small mistake and lost a couple positions, and looks like about 9 seconds there in behind those two right now. So a little bit of work to do. Nolander here tracking now, 2.6 seconds in behind Miss Devious in 9th place. Jakey comes out in 10th after his pit stop, and he's going to be sitting on a juicy fat 3-second pen there, and probably not going to be too happy to see that, but that is going to hurt the momentum down and the undercut a little bit as well, but you never know what will happen here. We got ATB coming out of pit lane here right now, so sequences are starting to roll through. Our race leader now coming into pit lane. Badass is going to go around here again, so that's going to be the race lead here for him now on lap number 15 as he comes around. Dudley is going to go around again as well here in 2nd position. Dylan also comes in, Ghost Viper comes in, JP and JSet are also going to stay out and continue around the racetrack, so that will put JP up into 3rd, Jay into 4th position. Where is Miss D? Miss D is coming into pit lane here as well. Nolander is staying out on track here, and it should put him up into 5th position now on the racetrack. But again, those drivers still gonna a pit stop. Death pit a little while ago there, it looked like. I could be wrong there. ATB for sure did pit a little bit there ago as well, so we'll see some of these guys and gals close back up here after the rest of this pit stop sequence sorts out, and then we'll have a better idea where everybody is sitting for the middle part of our race here. So obviously we're seeing pit stops at about the 16-minute mark of the race here, and that tells me we're definitely going to be seeing at least 2 stops here. Oof, that is going to be a massive wide pit. That will be a pit penalty right there. We will see 3 seconds over Badass's car. Unfortunately there for him, he just shot out a little wide, came in a little too hot for the pit entry there, and depending where he came back in across that line, if he crossed that solid yellow line, the race officials will hand him a 3-second there. And again, not ideal, but he's not going to be the only driver that's going to see that happen here this evening. So we got Lucas is going to come out just in behind Nolander there in 6th place. Jakey comes out, he's 7.2 seconds in behind, so that 3-second penalty definitely hurt a little bit of that gap there between Lucas and Jakey through that first pit stop exchange. We got Dylan here, he's 4.8 seconds in behind Jakey. Ghost Viper is 12.5 seconds in behind him, and then we got ATB 9 seconds in behind him. So already the pit stop strategies, changing the positioning of our drivers here, and a penalty there for Misdevious as well, and ATK death as well. So several drivers after that first round of pit stops here are seeing the wrath of our track limit officials here at Road Atlanta. They take this pretty seriously here at Road Atlanta. You really got to be prim and proper here. There's certain spots and certain corners they'll let a little bit more slide due to the nature of the corner, but for the most part you got to keep the majority of your racing car on the track surface here at Road Atlanta, or the track and limit officials are going to ultimately make you pay the price for it. So we do have Dudley here in the race lead, and again, a driver who still owes a pit stop here so far in the race. The pit entry is a pain, says Drone. It looks like it. So a very difficult spot. You're coming up the hill, and you got to try and really maintain that line coming up over the hill as well. And then you got an set of S's leading into pit lane on top of it. So we got Jay coming into pit lane here now from 5th place. So he's going an overcut style strategy here compared to the majority of the field for this first sequence. And so appears to be Dudley and JP here now rolling in 2nd place. JP is in behind ATK's death here right now, and this will essentially put ATK death a lap down, but once the pit stop sequence rolls out, he'll get his lap back. So he's not technically a lap down, but he is quote unquote a lap down currently, as Dudley is ahead of ATK's death here right now. But again, that will transition back full circle to the lead lap once Dudley and JP finally decide to make their first initial pit stops. So it does kind of seem like we're going to see 2-stop versus 3-stop strategies. Now this is just an early inclination, but unless the drivers are planning on running longer soft tire stints than they did the mediums, it appears that we're going to see the majority of the field on a potential 3-stop, and it looks like that the couple drivers that are still waiting to go in are on that 2-stop style strategy here. But I mean, yeah, those tires of Dudley, I mean, they have seen better days. Dudley did a lot of early recovery driving to try and get back up towards the front end of the field here before pit stop sequence, and I'm sure that's probably a little part of why those tires obviously are in absolutely terrible shape there. But you can see both lefts in trouble here as we head into the final corners here, and I don't know how much longer he can continue to risk fate on those very, very worn out tires here. And he's going to do at least one more here as we come around here to start lap number 20, ladies and gentlemen. So JP here is just chilling in behind ATK's death here. And I think JP is aware of exactly that. He knows that he's going to eventually make a pit stop, and Death's just going to get that position back. So it kind of doesn't make sense to battle for that position necessarily if Death has the pace in front of him. And this pit stop will happen soon enough. So Lucas here in 3rd place, and the gap is 21 seconds to Dudley here right now, so we're noting that gap. I wasn't paying attention to how long the pit delta was here, but it definitely looked like it was well over 30 seconds. You and Jakey getting it a little bit wrong, and Nolander's going to scoot up inside there. He's going to grab 4th place on ERA's Jakey here, and Jakey is currently sitting in 5th place here at the 21.5 minute mark of the race. But he is the fastest man on the racetrack here right now in the 106.6. But sometimes when you are pushing the limits of the car and the track, sometimes you make the mistakes. And we just seen one there from ERA's Jakey. So we got Dylan here in 6th position, and the gap is 4.4, and he's got a half-second track limit penalty there. Again, our race control officials here, they mean business at Road Atlanta. We got Ghost Viper here in 7th position, and he is just a smooth operator here right now. You can really see that race car is just moving nice and smoothly. There's no jerks, there's no wiggles in the car under braking or under acceleration right now. He looks like he's in the groove here. So our race leader finally deciding to make his first pit stop of the race here, and JP also deciding to make his first stop here. So our first pit stop sequence now starting to filter through. We got ATB here in 9th place, and he's closed up very quickly here on J set. and that gap is 3/4 of a second. So let's stay on board with these two here. As you can see, Ghost is about 4 seconds, maybe 5 seconds up ahead of him here right now, but ATB looked like he was closing in on Jay there as he were running up the back straight there, and then as we head into the chicane, it looked like Jay opened the gap back up a little bit there on ATB in 9th position. So nothing brewing quite immediately there. We got Miss Devious here, and she is about 40 seconds in behind JP, so again, we'll have to wait and see what all those pit deltas are. Once all the drivers have gotten out of pit stop back up the race pace, we'll have a little bit of a better idea of whose strategy so far seems to be on the better end than the other one. Brass one says Cobra for the extra laps on the dead tires there. True story. It is Lucas here is got 10 seconds right now over Jakey. So Jakey, I think, really overall only lost, even with that little extra excursion there, about 7 seconds. Remember, some of that is a 3-second pit lane infraction as well. So overall, if it wasn't for those things, maybe a second gained by Lucas through that pit stop sequence there, and it's now Nolander and Dylan battling it out for 3rd place here, and you can see different lines coming through there, and I think Dylan kind of was expecting that line coming from Nolander, because he just absolutely stuck it tight to the inside of turn number 1 there, got the job done very quickly, and now he's tracking down the S's and trying to open the gap back up. He's already got it to 0.6 of a second here, and as we head up in towards what one of the drivers suggested here today, the double right-hander we're going to call Nub, an inside joke. Some of you may catch on to it, but yeah. And the track looks like a drumstick, a chicken wing, so the nub would be the end of the drumstick, essentially. Nolander here in 4th place. We've got Ghost Viper here in 5th position, and it's 11 seconds right now to that front pack. Jay's 4 seconds in behind Ghost there, and he's got Dudley now closing in, who's come out after his pit stop here in 7th place, about 0.8 of a second in behind. ATB is just 1 second in behind them, and then Miss Devious is about 8 seconds, so she's actually gained a little time on this pack here after that pit stop sequence, and with, I believe, a 3-second pit lane infraction there as well. So definitely starting to track up the road is Miss Devious. We got JP here. He's 1.2 seconds in behind, and they've been very close all season long in pace, and they're both in the VR2 headsets this season as well. So interesting fun fact there about Miss Devious and JP this season is they are 2 of our VR2 racers here in the series. We do have other ones that do race in the VR2 here as well in the community, but in this division it is JP and Miss Devious currently competing in the VR2 headsets, so a little bit of a different look from them when they're on the racetrack, and that does create some differences in driving lines, in braking zones, in acceleration points, and that adds just a little more intrigue into the races when you've got now 3 different styles of driving essentially within Gran Turismo 7. We have our controller users that race on controller, we have drivers that race in the series that use controllers still, we have our wheel and pedal setup racers, which is the majority of our sim racers nowadays, and now we have the VR2 headset in combination with either a controller or a wheel and pedal setup, and that is a whole different way to see and experience Gran Turismo 7 as well. So we do have 3 different types of racers on the racetrack here in this division this season as well, so that a little bit of a fun fact there for everybody in case we weren't sure about that. So that does add a little bit more knowledge that the drivers need to put into their driver data bank, so to speak. So, you know, racers, we get familiar racing against certain racers, you know, regularly or all the time, or, you know, once in a while, you start to kind of build information on your competitors or your friends or your teammates or whatever the case may be, and then you know, in the back of your mind, you're filing that information away for a rainy day, so to speak. So, you know, if you're maybe in a tight dogfight against one of these racers that you're used to racing against, you know, you start leaning into that memory bank a little bit and trying to start now poking a hole in the armor, finding the chink in the armor, so to speak, so you can find something to try and use against your opponent in the battle on track. So it's very interesting when you've got large groups of racers that race together all the time, because you're familiar with each other. Everybody knows each other's pace and all these things, and everybody's always gauging each other against a certain driver or a certain group of drivers all the time, and that's the case here in the community as well. But you're also learning from each other at the same time. I gotta tell you what, this is creating one fast community, that's for sure. They have tackled these LMP1 cars like absolute professionals this season, and they have been racing absolutely hard all season long in these cars, and definitely deserve a round of applause. So we're only 8 rounds in, but the racers make the content, and we can't do it without them. So we appreciate our racers, and they're putting on a show here again tonight. But middle part of the race, always a little slower, as I like to call it, because the drivers are really focused in on their pit strategy right now. They have a point of the race in their mind where they want to make that next stop or their final stop, whatever the case may be for each individual driver. We have lost one of our racers here. Who have we lost? I think we lost Death. We have lost Death. Oh my. Alright, one of our racers with the car in behind pit wall here. Not sure when that happened or what happened there, but ATK's Death here in behind pit wall here tonight, and that's unfortunate here about midway through the race. So we are going to finish it with 11 here today, but hey, that's racing. Cars break, you know, accidents happen on the racetrack, and sometimes racers don't get to finish races. It's no different here in the sim racing world, so you hate to see it. We feel for ATK's Death, but the race is going to continue on here, and we now have 11 racers battling for the win here to finish off hopefully here this evening. We've got Dylan in 3rd position, we've got Ghost Viper here in 4th place, we've got Jay in 5th, we've got ATB here in 6th, we've got Miss Devious in 7th position, we've got Ten Tenths Badass in 8th place, we've got JP in 9th place, we've got Dudley here in 10th position, and must have made a little mistake here. He was running up in the top 5 there for a bit, and now we've got Nolander here in 11th position and being chased down by some lap traffic here right now. So you can see Ghost just giving him a little flash there to let him know he's there. Nolander gets him go through there into turn number 1, gives him lots of space, lots of respect being shown there. Now he's got, I believe that's J-Set closing in on him here and going down through the S's here. It's going to be a little bit of a patient sector here. And this is a very tight, narrow section of the racetrack here. Jay may have to hold up in behind Nolander all the way to the back straight here now, as again, it's just a very difficult part of the racetrack to, never mind battle and make a pass on, but also navigate the blue flag situation here as well. So as Nolander's coming around the corner there, he makes a little mistake. Jay gets a run there and should be able to get the job done there. And we're moving and grooving here, so alright, what do we got going on here? We got Lucas in 1st, we got Jakey in 2nd place, we got Dylan here in 3rd position, and Lucas and Jakey here well in control right now of the race. A little bit of damage here on Jake's car, but he was closing in on Lucas, so the gap is down to almost 3 seconds, so that is definitely noted here as well. Jakey is starting to track in on Lucas 369 here. Dylan in 3rd position here, and he's looking very strong. He's kind of in no man's land in 3rd place here, and that's not necessarily the worst spot to be when you're sitting on the final podium spot, but obviously would like to continue to try and push forward and close that gap up to 1st and 2nd place and try to improve that podium position if possible. We have Ghost Viper here in 4th position. You can see J-Set closing in a little bit here as the race is coming in. You can see ATB is just a couple, about 3-4 seconds back in the distance there as well. So almost a 3-way battle here for 4th place right now between these 3 racers, and you can see Ghost has, it looked like lights were flashing here, but it just might be as these cars are driving over the bumps and the little undulations in the racetrack here. Nope, he does have some 4-ways on there. And I think he's signaling, not sure. But nonetheless, he's, him and Jason very close together here. I think he was, I think he's just hitting buttons here. He may be on his controller, potentially maybe here tonight. Goes. That would be actually I've seen him do it. He's quite good at it. Or he's just signaling to JSET. Maybe they're communicating. Maybe they got something going on we don't know about. I don't know. But we got ATB here in 6th place. We got Miss Devious in 7th position. Let's not get hung up on one spot here. Badass is 4.2 seconds in behind. So again, middle part of the race. There's still a little under 18 minutes remaining in the race here. And we're most likely going to see a final pit stop here from the field. Now, I could be wrong on that, but some of our drivers here don't look like they've got enough fuel on board to go the distance. So definitely 2-stop strategies at play here. Potential 3s. I thought maybe there was going to be some 3 stops here the way things were looking at the beginning, but it is just going to be, it appears to be a 2-stop set of sequences here from our racers today. And speaking of, we got Dylan actually coming into pit lane here right now on the end of lap 29 to make his potential final pit stop of the race here. Again, we're going to see 40 plus laps. It'll be on the low end of 40, or we're just not sure where. It could be 41, could be 42, could be 44, could be, but it'll definitely be on the lower half of the 40s here today. It all again depends on the pace of the lobby and when the drivers come across start finish line compared to the race timer. So Lucas is coming around here, and it's going to be a pit stop there for Lucas. You can see he may almost making a mistake there on the entry. So I believe that was Dudley just getting a lap back there from the race leaders as he goes around there. I'm not sure what happened there. He must have had an incident on the racetrack, and it's just set him back a little bit here, or he made a pit stop a little bit earlier before these guys the lap ago, and we just missed it. But it is now Jake coming into pit lane here and taking a much more cautious approach into pit entry here this time. Definitely not wanting to repeat the mistake that he made on the first pit stop there, picking up that 3-second pit entry penalty, which potentially could have cost him nose to tail racing here with Lucas or the race lead. So the gap is close. We got JSET and the Ghost Viper here, who's now leading our race on lap number 30, kind of battling it out, but kind of not. They're very close together and not really battling for the position right now. Though again, they're in a tough sector of the racetrack, and this just may very well be a case of Jay just chilling in behind. Ghost clearly has good pace. Jay's been slowly but surely reeling them in, but it hasn't been a quick reel in. So they could just be a combination of these two drivers just chilling behind each other right now, trying not to slow each other up any before they make their final pit stops of the race as well. A little unsure. We're just speculating, but that's what we do as a commentator, because that's what we do as a commentator. We have Lucas here in 3rd place. Now the overall gap is 16.5 seconds, so obviously he will get the lead back when those two do finally decide to make a pit stop. And we know it does appear that both drivers are going to make another stop. We've got Dylan here in 5th place. We've got Dudley here in 6th. We've got ATB in 7th position. As we say that, we see Jay coming into pit lane here right now. We've got Miss Devious in 8th place. We've got Badass here in 9th place, and 3-second pit lane penalty there for him again. So unfortunate there for him, and that is going to drop back a little bit there, but still sitting in the top 10 here. We've got Nolander in that top 10th position, and we got JP here in 11th position. That's 5 seconds. Now the driver was definitely feeling a little under the weather here before race time today, but he decided to get in behind the wheel and tough it out here and just try to get that seat time in, and of course collect those very, very important points that are available on the board here as well. So kudos to him. But we do know that, of course, our 11th place driver is feeling a little under the weather here today, and but still out on track, giving it everything he's got. Alright, so our race leader is going to go around one more time here. You can see he's closing in on Ten Tenths Badass. And again, this is another situation where he's quote unquote a blue flag car, but then when goes pits basically next time around, because he probably won't have any more fuel to go another lap past that, I don't think. Badass will get that lead lap back from Ghost. So again, a tough situation when you have pit stop sequence varying from each other like that, and a little bit of pace difference on the track throughout the race as well. Tends to mix the racers up sometimes, and can create a little bit of confusion as well. But it looks like so far that the pros have done pro things and handled it well. We have Dylan here in 4th position, and he's got 4.9 seconds in behind Jakey right now. Now, doesn't need to panic. Ghost is going to inevitably have to make a pit stop here, and that will put him back on the podium. And now it's Ten Tenths J-Set in behind, trying to chase that final podium position down once that pit stop is made. It's 11.2 seconds, but the bigger question is, does Jay get enough of an undercut here to gain the position on Ghost Viper, or is he still going to have to try and track Ghost Viper down and get that position from him on the track? We've got Dudley here in 6th place. We've got Miss Devious in 7th position. She's got ATB very close behind here, 1.8 seconds, so definitely in striking distance. Badass is in 9th place here, and he's got about 7.8 seconds in behind ATB and Miss Devious here right now. JP is here in 10th position, and he's got Lucas right on him here now as well. But again, JP still only a pit stop? I had myself a little confused. I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. I had a thought in my mind and realized that that thought was it was not going to be correct, so we just opted not to finish it. Alright, so Lucas is trying to work on getting around JP here, and I'm assuming he's going to do it leading up to back straight into the chicane here, and definitely alongside JP, enough there for JP to know that he's there. But JP is going to go late on the brakes. JP does not want to go the lap down, and it is his right as the car being put a lap down here by our race leader to battle him for that lead lap. So there's nothing wrong happening here. JP has the right to do this here, and you can see Lucas has realized that, okay, he's not going to just give it to me easily here. He's going to make me battle for it. So you can see Lucas is coming up with his game plan there, and he went to go take a look there, and JP just closed the door on him here a little bit, and then Lucas in a tough situation here because Jakey is closing in very quickly here as well, 3.5 seconds. So Lucas does not want to be battling JP any longer than necessary here right now, as Jakey is trying to track in on our race leader. But this is also good for Dylan, 7.9 seconds in behind 2nd place, 11 seconds behind the race leader here, and every little bit of help he can get from the drivers up front is good for him to try and gain another or higher step on the podium before things are over here. We have 10 minutes and 25 seconds left on the clock here as well. So it's Ghost here in 5th position and comes out about 5 seconds in behind J-Set. So the undercut doing J-Set's what he was looking for there, gets him ahead of Ghost Viper, and J-Set now trying to track Dylan down. We got Dudley now trying to track down Ghost Viper here, and the gap is 3.2 seconds. Miss Devious trying to close in on Dudley, 6.1. ATB here is 2 seconds in behind Miss Devious, and really just maintaining that gap in between himself and her at the moment. We got Badass here closing in 6.8 seconds now in behind ATB, and he's been tracking in slowly but surely here throughout this last stint. We've got JP in 10th position here, and we've got Nolander here in 11th position. So each driver having their struggles here on the racetrack throughout this race. I don't think there is a driver that potentially probably didn't pick up a penalty or make some kind of small mistake that they probably are shaking their head at themselves for making. But you can see now, as we have a little less than 10 minutes left, it is now nighttime conditions here. The sun has gone down, the stars have come out, and we are going to finish our events here under the stars at Road Atlanta tonight, and that is going to cool our track down as well. So that is going to change the way that these cars are now handling on the racetrack, and ultimately the drivers have potentially planned for this here in the final stint of their run as well. So you can see Jake is 1.6 seconds in behind Lucas right now, and very, very quickly closing in. Dylan here is 19.5 seconds in behind the top two guys here, and Ten Tenths J-Set is closing in and has that gap down to about 7/10 of a second here right now. So he is just in the slipstream here right now as the two drivers come uphill and head down in towards the S's. Dylan does a good job to open that gap back up a little bit, give himself just a little bit of breathing room as they head down in through the S's. You can see JP was just giving way to those two drivers there as they were coming down the S's as well. We've got Dudley here in 6th position. We got Mischievous here in 7th place. We got an ATB here in 8th. We've got Badass in 9th place. We've got Renolander in 10th place. We got JP here again, just letting some lap traffic go around here. Again, oh, he's out of fuel here as he gets towards the end of his laps. So I thought he was just letting the field go through here, and with about 8 minutes remaining, he has ran out of petrol here on the racetrack. So that is not ideal. Miscalculated, went one too many laps there. I'm not sure what happened to JP there on that fuel calculation, but slow moving here as they head down the track, and very unfortunate there for JP. Sometimes it's just not your day on the racetrack, you know. As Jay said here in 3rd place, we got Dylan in 4th position here as well. We got Ghost Viper here up in 5th place. He's 5 seconds in behind and closing. Dudley is 5.3 seconds in behind Ghost Viper here in 6th place. We got Mischievous in 7th position. Is 2.7 seconds in behind Dudley there for the time being. It's 2.3 seconds between herself and ATB, who again is losing very small amounts of time lap by lap here, hundreds of seconds right now on Mischievous, so very closely paced, the two of them. Badass here is 7.3 seconds, so that balance is kind of the gap, has balanced out between ATB and Badass here as well. And then there's a little bit of space there to Nolander and JP in 11th position. So JP, again, not feeling the greatest here today, and definitely probably not up to 100% performance for himself here today, but going to finish things out here. So it was definitely a slow roll to pit lane there for him. I thought he was just letting somebody lap traffic down through the S's there, but running out of racing fuel there, and that is a long ways around the racetrack, even though it's only a 2-mile racetrack at electric engine speed, which is about 40 miles per hour. So had to get that car back around to pit lane under the engine hybrid system there to get some racing fuel back into the tank. So we've got Lucas here in 1st place, and it is on here. Jakey has closed in. Half a second is the gap here, so the pressure is now on. We now see a battle for the race lead. Lucas dives down the racetrack there, goes to break the slip. Jake doesn't bite there, he just sits in his line, and by not diving down the racetrack there, in a sense, isn't compromising any time. He's just keeping the car at full momentum in a straight line, and by Lucas trying to break the toe there, just by putting that small amount of steering angle in to move himself down the racetrack, he is scrubbing just a very small amount of speed off by changing his positioning a little bit like that up these small straightaways to defend, and that could potentially allow Jakey just to close up free time if he chooses not to play follow the slipstream game. But at some point, you need to use that slipstream to get the advantage, to get the run, to get into the braking zone on the inside line as well. And I think Jakey is aware of that. You can see he's potentially testing the timing out right now on the back straight here. He did close up on Lucas a little bit there. Coming down this back straight here as we head into 10A and 10B. Turn 11 is our uphill crest here, and then turn number 12 is our downhill sweeper into the start-finish line. And I think this is studying 101 here right now. I think Lucas is probably doing the same thing, probably keeping an eye on Jake and what he's doing in behind and how he's reacting to what Lucas is doing as well. And I think Jake is doing the exact same thing to Lucas. I think he's doing little things to see how Lucas is going to react to him, maybe looking for a spot that he can gain an advantage on Lucas, grab some more time, maybe even get a nose in. But right now the two race leaders only separated by a second here on the racetrack. Jay has managed to get himself around Dylan here. He's now up into 3rd position, so Dylan 1.5 seconds in behind. Not sure if that was a penalty or mistake, or if that was just a pass made there by Jay. Said as we're busy watching our race leaders there, but Dylan now finds himself trying to chase Jay back down in this 1.6 second gap there. He's got Ghost Viper tracking very quickly here in behind as well. The gap was 4.8 I believe last time, and we're now down to 3.4 seconds. So slowly but surely tracking in. But Devious here, 11.3 seconds in behind Ghost. I think a little mistake made there somewhere along the way in the last couple laps here from Devious, because now Dudley is very, very close here in behind as well in 6th place, and the gap is just about 3/4 of a second here now as we head through what we're calling Nub today. And that gap is just right around that 1 second mark, so she gets just a slightly better run out of the corner than Dudley does there. And Dudley is not going to be able to attack by the end of the straight there, as he's going to be just a little too far out, I think, heading down towards 9, 10A and 10B. We've got ATB here in 8th position with Badass closing in. 1.1 seconds is that gap, so Badass now starting to track a little bit here as well. Nolander in 10th, JP rounding things out here in 11th, and just waiting for that clock to run down for himself so he can get out of that racing car and hopefully get himself back on the mend to feeling better here today and this week. We definitely feeling for him and sending our man good vibes, and huge props to JP for being out under the weather here, still sticking it out on a tough racetrack here today. We got Lucas is still 1 second ahead right now of Jake. That gap hasn't changed, and he had fastest lap, and then Jake took it away. So they are battling for the fastest lap point here on the racetrack as well as we get near the end of the race. And we have 2 minutes and 3 seconds left on the clock here as 10 Tenths J-Set comes around. It's going to be enough for a couple more laps for these two drivers here as well. So we are going to see 43 laps, I believe, for our lead group, and then it'll be, it looks like 42 laps for our second group of racers here on the racetrack. And we'll be keeping an eye on that. We'll see where Miss Devious comes across here. She may very well get that 43rd lap here. She has the fuel considered in for that 43rd lap, it looks like, and a little more here in the car as well. So coming around here, it's going to be, yes, we're actually going to see the majority of our drivers get that 43rd lap. It looks like it's just going to be a couple of our drivers here in the back part of the pack that are not going to get that 43rd lap. So most of our drivers are going to finish on the late lap here today. It is Lucas here as he comes around to start lap number 43 here. And what should be our final lap here, the gap is 9 tenths of a second here between Jake and Lucas, so we are going to stick with this battle here, and when these two come back around, there should be a checkered flag being waved here, I think, on the racetrack. I think we'll see 9th, 10th, and 11th also see that checkered flag this time around here as well as they come across, but right now it is keeping an eye on 1st and 2nd place. The gap is now 1.4 seconds here, so Jake has just slightly lost touch with Lucas coming out of the nub, and that is going to, or should be, enough to get Lucas to the start-finish line ahead of Jake here, but we still have 4 corners to get to that start-finish line here from both these drivers, so anything can happen here yet. And as we're coming into 9, 10A, 10B, and 11, it is going to be Lucas 36 here with a round 8 win, but not as decisive as we've seen him. Oh, he gets another lap. I take it back. Okay, so it is going to be a 44th lap here for Jake and Lucas, and this battle is not over yet. It's Jay and this is Dylan battling it out here for that final spot here, and as we head down into the chicane, we are locked in a battle for the 3rd and final position here, and ooh, a little bit of a touch there between the two drivers, and it's a drag race, and its tires are rubbing, and it's going to be, woohoo, it's going to be Dylan getting through ahead there of J-Set. It's going to be J-Set in 4th place. It's going to be Ghost Viper coming across there in 5th position. Miss Devious here is going to bring it home in 6th place in a drag race for the final podium position here tonight from J-Set and Dylan there, but it's going to be 6th place for Miss Devious. It's going to be 7th place here for RA's ATBs. He's coming around turn number 12 here right now, and it's going to be 8th place there for 10 Tenths Badass. Dudley finished in 9th place. Nolander will bring it home here in 10th. JP took the flag there in 11th place. Let's go see what's happening up front here. The gap is 8 tenths of a second as we head down into the final 2 corners there. Jakey gave him a solid effort there, but 3/4 of a second separating 1st and 2nd place here tonight in our pro division is going to be Lucas 36 taking home a very marginal win over Jakey by 3/4 of a second. Oh, it happens, my guy. It happens. A good recovery. You worked hard tonight, my dude. You worked hard tonight. All right, so it is going to be a victory for Lucas, but I don't know who had the fastest lap there because I didn't actually pay attention. So let's go see right now who had fastest lap on the racetrack. And it is looking like it's going to be Jake here. For some reason, it's not color coordinated for us tonight. So it is Lucas with the race win. It's going to be Jakey here in second place. It's going to be Dylan in third place with a feisty battle right down to the checkered flag between himself and J-Set. We got Ghost Viper coming shortly in behind them. In fifth position, we got Ten Tenths Mischievous here in sixth place. We've got ATB in seventh and Ten Tenths Badass in 8th position. I got it. Hit 1057. That's why. We just haven't gotten to the page yet. Gotcha. Alright. So it is, there it is, just as the man himself said it. It's going to be Dudley here, and not an ideal race for him here tonight, as he felt like it was a terrible race here. A couple of mistakes, had to fight hard here tonight, but he is going to salvage that fastest lap point out of the night here and give himself a bonus points as well. So as he continues that charge with 2 rounds remaining there, it's going to be 9th place for him. It's going to be Nolander in 10th position. It's going to be JP here in 11th, and it's going to be ATK's Death here in 12th place behind pit wall about midway through the race there, and we're not sure what happened to ATK Death there, but some kind of malfunction in his LMP1, and we'll get 12th place here tonight. My brain, chat. It's Monday. We're going to call it Monday brain. All right, so podium interviews here. Who do we have? We have Dylan, Jake, and Lucas. We probably will not see Jake jump into the podium interviews here this evening. That's not too untypical. Of course, it's like 3 in the morning almost where he's at, so we appreciate him coming out and giving us a great run there, right down to the checkered flag, almost closing in Lucas 369 there. And I think that there was another lap there that might have been a battle right down to the start finish line. So just bear with me here, ladies and gentlemen, as I open my Discord server here so we can go get set up for some podium interviews. Drivers, make sure you save your replays. You may need them, you just never know. Especially after a difficult racetrack like Road Atlanta, it's definitely recommended to make sure that everybody has their own footage of the race, just in case they needed to file or defend themselves in an incident report situation. And the ruling is on that now the drivers have 24 hours to file any potential incident reports. From there, the stewarding office will take a look, make an assessment, and if necessary, file or hand out, pardon me, any penalties if they feel is necessary. Now, that doesn't mean that that's what they're going to do. But if they feel that there is something that gained an advantage to a driver, then typically that's what we'll see a steward hand out a penalty. But all in all, the drivers have been pretty cool, calm, collected this season. A lot of it's just been chalked up to good hard racing for the most part, and the drivers have really only filed really good, legitimate claims to get the stewards working. So 24 hours is that period, and then of course the stewards ideally will try to get that done within the next 36 to 48 hours so we can get that assessed out. And then from there, there's a 24-hour appeals period yet if the driver or drivers at fault feel like that the call is wrong or too harsh, then they need to provide their own evidence, and it goes to a outside official to make the final call on the incident if it's needed to go that far. Sometimes it's needed, sometimes it's not, but that is a part of the process. So unofficial results, as we've seen earlier in the stream, it is going to be Lucas 369 with the race win, Jakey in second place, and Dylan rounding out our podium here. And I know we have Lucas up in our podium interview booth here tonight. We will see if any of our other podium finishers jump in here tonight. and it's not a mandatory thing, obviously. So, oh, we got 2 podium interview channels. Huh. Okay. Should be able to see it. Yeah, I think we gotta move to the other interview spot, Lucas. Alright, he can only, obviously he can only see the one, so we'll just move over to where he can see it, and then Lucas will, clue in and follow, I'm sure. Or we'll just jump to each podium room. Alright, now Lucas sees what's going on there as well, so, 2 of our 3 podium interviewees here so far, ladies and gentlemen, so let's just get some audio up on the stream for everybody so the guys and gals can hear our drivers, and let's go ahead and cue our 3rd place finisher in. So all right, let me check to make sure they can hear me. They should be able to hear me. Computer is slow. Yeah, I can see the thing working. All right, so we do have our 3rd place finisher here, Dylan0119, and a wheel-to-wheel battle with 10 tenths J-set there, right down to the checkered flag, and just crossing the line just ahead of 10 tenths J-set there. We did see a penalty on the finish of Jay's race finish there, so even if J-set potentially finished up in 3rd place there, if the penalty was carrying pre-battle, that may have been enough for him still to lose 3rd place. So last few corner battle, great job at just locking in that final podium position. And Road Atlanta, small track, fast cars. We had the early red flag early on the race. Everybody has to kind of get reset, get back into their racing rhythm and get back on track and do it all over again. We get going, and 50 minutes later we got ourselves a podium finish. So lots of battling out there, lots of pit strategy at play out there. Talk us through how your night was.
Yeah, wow, thank you. And great battle with J-Set at the end. I already sent him a message congratulating him or thanking him for that awesome battle at the end. So I guess I didn't really have a strategy going into tonight's race. I texted my buddy who was watching the stream tonight, and I said, dude, I'm just doing soft bangers from the start and then just see how it goes. I didn't really have a plan. But that first stint was definitely key for me. Fighting through the field, being patient, finding the right places to overtake for me. I found I was incredibly quick in sector 1. So I don't know the name of the turn, but at the end of sector 1, I found a good overtaking place for myself. Yeah.
Don't feel bad. We don't know what the corner names here at Road Atlanta are either. They don't actually have very many of the corners named currently here at Road Atlanta. It's just the S's as you come through turn 1 heading downhill there, and then you got the bridge, which is basically leading into the final sector of the racetrack, essentially. So a lot of unnamed corners here at Road Atlanta. So don't feel bad for not knowing the corner names, because the racing community itself doesn't know them yet, because I don't think they've aptly named them yet. But tough racing out there. The first stint, everybody, like you said, everybody's just trying to be patient. They're trying to kind of figure out where their comfort zone on the racetrack is to try and battle and attack, or maybe find the best spots to defend if you're in that position as well. That especially in the mid-pack was very wheel to wheel, door handle to door handle there for a large part of the race. And as you guys up front were trying to kind of break away from that pack, the extra little bit of battling, I think, allowed the front 4 or 5 to really break free. But it was a challenge for each of the drivers up front, yourself included too, as you guys were also kind of battling the little mistakes on the track, and also the track officials with those track infringement penalties here today. They were definitely on top of the track limits here today. So with all those things considered, and like you said, not really having a strategy, I guess happy with how you raced here today. And I mean, how do you manage all those things that are going on at once on such a tough racetrack with such fast cars?
To be honest, I don't, and that's why in previous races I haven't had the results I've been looking for. It was definitely just staying focused for this race, and that was what I knew my problem was from previous races, and I still struggle with that. I had a couple mistakes behind some of the back markers, throwing myself off of the track, or getting myself a penalty somewhere. Yeah, it's just staying focused.
Absolutely, and again, very tough racing conditions. You guys are starting in the latter part of the day, so you got a nice warm racetrack, and then the sun starts to go down, so you guys have to deal with the setting sun conditions, and then of course the stars come out, the cloud cover comes out, it gets dark, and the track completely changes. So that final pit stop, you guys make your second pit stops. The track has cooled down quite a bit. How much did that change the way that the car felt in the final, say 12-15 minutes of the race?
Absolutely. I was not expecting that. Again, because I didn't do very much testing. I noticed on my second stint, the soft tire degradation was significantly less than the first stint, and I was terrified of the alternate strategy runners behind me, like JSAT. I think he did a medium soft, and I expected him to be catching up to me in the final stint there, which he did. And I think also Ghost Viper might have been on the same strategy. I did not expect it, so I'll tell you, I was terrified on my third stint of at least those two catching up to me. Were the only ones I could keep track of during this race.
Absolutely, you're not wrong. Ghost Viper was also starting to track in there, just in behind you guys as you guys were traveling your way to that great battle right to the checkered flag there today. But I mean, you're running out of time. You're coming down the back straight. You've got 4.5 corners essentially to try and get onto that final podium spot. So you pick your line. You guys head through the chicane. You swap a little paint, and you come out on top. Expecting the result you got here this evening?
No, I was not. But especially that final stint, I just locked in, and after making that mistake and letting JSAT past me, just locked in and said, I can do this. I know he has better tires, but I know where I'm quick on this track, and I will catch up to him. And then got that nice little last lap showdown.
Absolutely, and what a great battle it really was between you and JSET. And again, you're the one standing on the podium here tonight, and you're the one talking to us about how the race was. So, really great racing out there. Absolutely great action all race long throughout the whole field. Again, here this week in round number 8, it just doesn't seem to stop here with this pro division. They seem to have a handle on these cars, and even for the ones that are coming, maybe a little less information than say some of the other racers, they're still providing some really great hard fast racing out there, and that's what makes this competitive division so competitive. So congratulations. Final remarks on your race here this evening, and any shout outs to the viewers watching at home?
Just a big thank you to you and this entire community. I joined this community in this league a couple weeks ago, and everyone has been so welcoming, so helpful, and everyone here is racing hard, and I love it.
Well, cheers. We definitely appreciate the feedback, and we're glad to see that you're enjoying your time here. That's what it's all about. We're supposed to be having fun here while we're racing, and it sounds like our third place finisher is having a whole lot of fun out here in the latter part of our season. So we have Suzuka on schedule for next week, and we're putting you guys and gals back in the Peugeot to finish the season off for the last 2 rounds. How do you feel about the combination for round number 9?
Well, Suzuka's not one of my best tracks, I don't think, but nor have I driven the Peugeot yet. I guess we'll have to see. I mean, I would have said the same thing about Road Atlanta. Not one of my best tracks, but it's just about putting it all together on the race day. We'll see what happens.
Absolutely, and spoken like a racer right there, ladies and gentlemen. Very well said. And again, congratulations on a hard-fought battle, hard-fought third-place finish here today, and first podium of the season. Yep, there we go. Perfect. Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate you. We're going to let you get back to the clubhouse and go celebrate with that great racing crew in behind the scenes.
Thanks, guys.
There we have it, ladies and gentlemen. Dylan, 119. Now, he's a newcomer, like you said, to the community in the season, in the series. He came in round number 6. Just after our mid-season double points round, he came in through Sim League Pro. So we just want to take a minute to say thank you to Sim League Pro for allowing us to host the GT45 Prototype Challenge there this season. It has been a little bit of a learning curve, but it is a great attribute to our tools here at GT45 Gaming and the administration staff to hopefully continue to allow us to run way more efficiently into the future with more championships coming. So huge thank you to Sim League Pro and to the drivers coming in through Sim League Pro. We appreciate you. You're all more than welcome to come into the family, whether you're racing or you're just a fan. The Discord is welcome to everybody alike, so we appreciate y'all. But without further ado, let's talk to our race winner here. And now seemingly starting to kind of get a foothold here on our points lead as we head into Suzuka next week for round number 9. You had a little bit of a cushion over Dudley for the championship points coming into the race. He didn't have a great race finish, ideally, I'm sure, as he would like to have seen here today. So that gives you a little bit more of a breathing room heading into the final 2 rounds. Obviously, Suzuka is a fairly difficult racetrack, and then we lead into St. Croix for our finale, which is in its own right, it's also a very difficult racetrack. So congratulations on a great race here today. It was definitely not the dominating performance we've seen from last week. There was definitely some pressure throughout the race there, and you definitely had to work hard to hold it out at the checkered flag, as Jakey was just 3/4 of a second in behind at the checkered flag there. So a little bit of a different race for you here tonight, so talk us through it.
No, thank you. Wasn't the best race, wasn't the most perfect race, but in the end, got the job done. Uh, I feel I lucked into the win a little bit. Jake was by far the fastest, and then no, early on in the beginning, I thought he was on softs while I was on mediums. So in the initial stages, I thought I was keeping up with him while he was on softs. We were building that gap to the cars behind. And he mentions to me that he's on medium, so I realized, oh no, we gotta pick up the pace a little bit with him, keep up. Got around him after he got a penalty, and then he got in the dirty air behind me and got sucked off, I believe, at turn 1. Uh, then he made a big comeback to start catching me throughout the stints, fighting through traffic and such. No, he was killing it, and I barely managed to get it. He made a mistake on the second to last lap while I was fuel managing, and the gap went from 1 second to 1.5. And that was, thankfully for me, the cushion I needed to stretch out the fuel and take home the win.
Absolutely, and I mean, lots of little mistakes made by I think each and every individual racer here on the road Atlanta tonight, and obviously not too
Yes,
too
sir.
much of a surprise to see that. It's a very small, tight technical racetrack, and when you've got 12 beastly Toyota TS 150 050s, pardon me, on the racetrack, I mean, there's not a lot of real estate on the racetrack as the race starts to progress. You start running into a little bit of pit stop strategy differences, which creates blue flag traffic that's essentially not really blue flag traffic, but kind of is at that point in the race, and it really makes for a whole lot of different things and a lot of strategy calls that you have to make on the racetrack. We've seen you working around JP there. JP may not have been fully aware that you were in behind him as race leader, but again, he hadn't made his last pit stop yet, so it just hadn't sequenced through, and you just caught him at the wrong time, and that ultimately allowed Jake to close in a little bit quickly there as well, just having that little bit of a battle there with JP to try and get around him to continue up the track. So a lot of different things happening on the racetrack. So as as you're going through that tonight compared to last week, it was just you were on just a rail last week, and you didn't really see a lot of pressure, but you kind of had pressure all race long. It wasn't immediate pressure, but there was somebody in the rearview mirror lurking pretty much all race long. I mean, how did you manage this week's race compared to last week's race, I guess, differently, with the situation being completely different?
Yeah, for sure. No, I mean, the nighttime stint, it's dark. Can't really blame JP too much, especially he is a VR driver, so you have to take that in consideration. It's pitch black, you can't see a damn thing out there. I'm trying to remember what stint it was. It was, I think, in the early goings of maybe stint 2, in the initial phases of the nighttime. Something happened over in turn one. I don't remember what the two cars were involved. But I came around and I made a dumb mistake too and went flying off. At that point, I think I had a 10-second gap from Jake. I believe he got a pit lane penalty, and that cost him about 5 seconds. And so the gap was there about 10. And then next thing you know, the gap is 1 second. And then he got caught up with one of the cars involved in the wreck, I believe. And then the gap was back to like 4 seconds or something. But it stayed right there for the rest of the race, that pressure. Yeah, I mean, had to stay as smooth as I could the whole race. This track does not have, as like you said, any room for error. At Alsace last week, at least it's a lot more open. You can see the apex of the corner better. There's some blind corners, but it's pretty open. There's a lot of room for error. Uh, this one, Road Atlanta, not at all. You had to be on top of it the whole race, and even though I wasn't, nobody really was. Everybody fought through a tough, difficult race, and I'll gladly take the top step.
Absolutely, and I mean, with 2 weeks of racing left now, and things are starting to kind of settle out in the Pro Division a little bit, but we still have that unknown factor, the drop rounds. Now, obviously, the drivers are kind of themselves starting to factor those in as we get into the final couple of rounds of racing. Is that the case for yourself as well? You and your crew and behind the scenes, you're kind of starting to crunch those numbers a little bit and see what kind of cushion you actually do have as you head into Suzuka next week.
Well, one of the biggest things is I'm not going to be too comfortable, I feel, with these next two races. In two very important races, penultimate and the finale, with the finale being double points as well. So it's still up for grabs. It really can be. It just is a matter of I have to solidify my driving as I have these last few races and just keep it on track. That's been the most difficult thing for I think most all of us this season, but we've all managed, and it's been some good hard racing all year, and it'll continue to do so.
Absolutely, and fight right down to the end, right to the checkered flag, right to the end of the season, ladies and gentlemen, all our drivers, and no different here for tonight's race winner, Lucas 369. And everybody again watching at home is we've talked to Lucas all season long on the podium pretty much, but he's not wrong. We do have a double points round coming up in our finale, and it's also going to be a reverse grid based off the championship point standings, meaning that Lucas remains in the lead moving into round 10. That's going to put him at the back of the pack to start the race off with as well. So there's a lot of things that are still factoring into this season yet, and it's definitely far from over, even though we're only a couple weeks away. But in the driver's mind, there's a lot of work left to do, a lot of testing left to do, and a lot of seat time to get in here yet before we finally send this season off. So, congratulations on another good race. Definitely a hard-fought win here today, and like you said, Jakey was definitely cooking out there today, but racing is racing, and fell 3/4 of a second short for that win here this week. But congratulations to him for a second place win. Any final remarks on the race here tonight, and shout outs to the viewers watching at home?
Again, as always, thank you first and foremost for hosting and allowing us to do what we do here with all these league races and these different series over the last 2 years that I've been here in the community as well. Everyone we got watching, Jake for getting up pretty late hours, early hours technically overseas to race with us, put on a good show with me, and yeah, thank you again. Gotta also congratulate Dylan over there, or as we're gonna forever know him as, Dylon.
Absolutely, and congratulations for all our drivers in the field. It was tough out there today for all 12 of our racers. Unfortunately, for one of them behind pit wall early here at the race, we'll finish 12th place here today. But for the other 11 drivers, hard fought and well earned positions and points on the table for them, and that leaves us with 2 weeks remaining for our Pro Division. So again, congratulations. We're gonna let you get back to that clubhouse and go celebrate with that racing team behind the scenes, as you're the one holding the cup up high today, my friend. Congratulations.
Thank you much.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, as always, great words of advice from Lucas 369. Now, let's keep this in mind, ladies and gentlemen. Some of our racers are real life racers in real life, various types of racing, whether it be stock car racing, drag racing, dirt bike racing, whether it be circuit racing like we do here on camera for everybody watching at home. I forgot to change the track loop today. We'll switch that for tomorrow. Yeah, I lost my train of thought as I'm also yammering away here.
cranking up on the throttle, victory is mine. Show you the harder the battle, harder I fight. I've come too far to quit. Step back, I'm going in. I'm cranking up on the throttle. This is how legends are made. This is how legends are made. This is how legends are made. Like iron from the fire, getting stronger. This is how legends are made. Above it all, untouchable.